Hello, good morning. A happy Monday to you. My name is YAA'S. I welcome you to Auntie Ya's Book Corner, and it's Let's Talk with Mama Ya. Today, we're going to be speaking about improving your self-talk. I trust that you had a good week. And on Auntie Ya's Book Corner, we do a variety of programs. We have our Saturday lives that we do every 2 times a month. So our next Facebook Live will be on Saturday, May 27th at 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. As well, we have a variety of videos that you may see on this platform. Own It, based on my book Own It, which is an Amazon International best-selling book. We have reflections from my first book, Reflections for a Thirsty Soul. And then I do beauty lessons from my second book, The Beauty of a Woman's Heart. As well, I have Refreshing, which is from my book, Refreshing for Your Weary Soul. So here are the books. The first one is Reflections for a Thirsty Soul, The Beauty of a Woman's Heart, Refreshing for My Weary Soul. And this is the fourth one, Own It, which is a guide to taking responsibility and accountability for your own life journey. And the fifth book, My Unapologetic Self, a guide to being real and living life on my own terms, will be out later this year. So before we go ahead, I'm just quickly going to share to some groups and then we can continue. All right. Bear with me. All right. So as I was saying, how are we showing up in life? When I talk about improving your self-talk, the way you see yourself, how you talk to yourself, and how people perceive you or see you affects how you show up in life. A lot of times we are so busy with the daily grind of life that we don't pay attention to some of these things. Some of us are into a lot of people that I know, for example, that we've come from communities outside of the diaspora and we've come to make a living here. We tend not to focus too much on ourselves. The main issue becomes working hard, making money, and sending it back home. But we forget ourselves. And if we are forgetting ourselves, then we're forgetting our kids that we're having here. Are we preparing ourselves and how are we preparing them for life in the diaspora? Because chances are not many of the kids that you have here are going to go back home where you came from. They may visit. Some do go, but it's a smaller percentage, I'm sure. But then, you are living in a new environment, so it's important to prepare yourself, strengthen yourself, firm yourself up to live life in these communities in which we are. So, when I talk about self talk, what do I mean? It's the inner voice that speaks to you. You have things like, take a little child, they do something, and then they say to themselves, oh, why am I so clumsy? Like maybe they spilled milk. And then they are saying these bad things to themselves. And so if you're a parent and you are sitting there, are you going to just watch them talk to themselves like that? Or are you going to correct them? I remember there was a time that my youngest girl, she spilled something and she said something mean to herself. And I said, don't say that. It's just an accident. It's not like you do it every day. Do you know why you have to stop that kind of self-talk? Because if you keep saying it, you start to believe it, you internalize it, and then it becomes you. But you and I, we grew up with some, like when you come from our communities, especially the African environment, there's something that I've observed, like we were brought up in strict environments with good moral values and what have you. But have you realized that we are so harsh? We don't leave room for people to be themselves. The condemnation when you do something wrong is more than the praise that you'll get. So it affects how you see yourself. So these negative dynamics, it's putting it into you put it into your mind, and then you can't operate. If you keep telling a child that they are foolish, pretty soon that will become the internal dialogue. Oh, you won't amount to nothing. Oh, she's nothing. This one is more important than her. So they look down on themselves. So that becomes your inner self-talk. So your self-talk is made up of your thoughts. Yes. It's based on your beliefs and your biases, right? And you use this to create a chart in your head during the day. So constantly during the day, there's a conversation going on in your mind. It could be positive or it could be negative, depending on your outlook. So, yes, we're talking about what self talk is. It's your inner dialogue, how you speak to yourself. For myself, I've realized this because I've worked on myself to, come to that place when it's getting negative. I realize that I'm like, oh, why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling disappointed? Oh, I was working on something and it's frustrating me. Or, oh, why am I being slow on this? Then I start to pick myself up, and change my narrative to positive, that, oh no, there's something that you can do. Maybe look at it this way, go that way. And then I redirect myself. But if you don't have that capacity to do that and you take yourself for granted, so even you're not even examining your thought life, it could become very problematic because you are not feeding yourself positive thoughts and it's affecting your life. So your self-talk, it depends on your family dynamics, what you are told in your family, how you see yourself, and the environment you grew up in. There's a lot of things that happen in families. There's the favorite one, there's the people pleaser, there's the scapegoat, and there's the black sheep of the family. So depending which one you are, you have your own self-talk. Yeah, and then how you see yourself. Of course, there are people who are very, they are very, what's the word? They persevere, they know who they are. Even though you are telling them something negative, they'll say, this is what you think, but this is what I know. And that's what they go with. But there's others too that they are so beaten down. They keep hearing that, oh, woe is me, I'm not important enough. Oh, so they take it into every relationship. You see how this can affect you? You go into friendships, friends use you. You go into relationships with men, they use and abuse you. Excuse me. So it's important to change the way you think. Okay. And the environment you grew up in, of course. Sadly, now when I look at my community, we've got postdoctorates, triple postdoctorates in insults, the negativity. When somebody's doing well, they'll find a way to bash the person. It's almost like there's this lady in our community and she's doing very well. She's a high profile person. Everybody's been talking about her recently. And I heard this supposed, I don't know if it's a man of God, but whoever they are, being interviewed, and they are ascribing her success to a whole bunch of negative things. Now, it's not for me to sit here and say that what that man is saying is true, but just based on the way that we think in my community, I'm likely thinking that people are going to believe what this person said. So the question that I ask myself is that in our community, we are so mediocre that we can't expect people to fly high. So when they do, we have to say that it is something other than their own strength, their own courage, their own skills that took them there. So, the negativity. So this is the self-talk. So there's people who want to do things, but they are so afraid to do it because they are afraid of what people will say about what they are doing. Yeah. So we'll go to what are the types of self talk. So we have the personalizing, like you blame yourself for everything. So that is a self talk. Oh, there are people that when something goes wrong in a group, they just pipe up and then they say, oh, did I do that? I'm sorry. But meanwhile, it's nothing to do with them. So in this vein, these people, they blame themselves for everything. The second one is the magnifying self-talk. They look on the negative aspects only. They don't look at the positive side of it. They only see the gloom. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. That's all. And of course, we have the catastrophizing. They expect the worst. Nothing can persuade them otherwise. Oh, this is bad. This is negative. This is, doom and gloom. It is with them. And of course, we have the polarizing. These ones, they see the world as black and white, good or bad. There's no middle ground for them to consider that, oh, maybe it may be bad here, but there's a good aspect here. So this is how they look at life. So now we are going to look at effects of negative self-talk and how to overcome them, because that is the one that bothers people the most. I'm of the opinion that as humans, especially some of us from certain communities, we gravitate towards the negative more than the positive. The positive, I would say, is easy to do, but then we find ourselves over here. So let's talk about it. So if you're having this negative self-talk, it's like the effects of it: limited thinking. The example that I just gave about that so-called man of God ascribing somebody's success to other things other than their own, you know. So it's very unfortunate. So then in an environment like that, you have this limited thinking. You tell yourself, I can't do it. Or if I go do it, maybe they'll say this about me. Or nothing, or these things don't work. A lot of times, especially you hear stories about, you hear this, people say that when you come outside to the diaspora, the person you get in contact with when you first come is so, so important. And so a lot of times I hear stories like, oh, this person said they didn't do this, so I couldn't do it. Then negativity, negative, negative, negative. So we are so limited. Oh, you can't do this. Oh, you can't go to that office. You don't have this. Until when you go, this and this will happen. So negative. And yet there are other people from other communities who don't have Enkrata, but they work hard and they buy homes. And we still sit in those dungy little places. Let me read Tony's comment. Hello, Tony. Thanks for joining us. He says, I know PhD stands for Doctor of Philosophy degree, but in the mindset of Africans and especially to Ghanaians, the word PhD stands for pull him down. I know the word GMT stands for Greenwich Mean Time, but it stands for Ghana Man Time. Oh, okay, that's a new one for me in the mindset of Ghanaians. The Ghanaians themselves know that we don't value time. So, for example, the meeting will start at 5, but not Ghana Man Time. They use this statement because we don't respect time and make good use of. I don't get the rest of it. That is it right there that you said. The Ghana time, pull him down. We don't see anything good in people. So the negative, thinking. Another effect of negativity is perfectionism, negative self-talk, because you don't have confidence. So you don't even tell yourself that, oh, I know I'm good enough. I'm going to try this. I may fail, but I'll try it anyway. If I try it and I fail, I can learn from my mistakes. No. We are so caught in, people don't want to be wrong, because in our community we mock people a lot. We shame people. We're shaming culture. That's how I put it. We're shaming culture. So people don't want to do wrong. So they won't try anything till it's perfect. What are you doing when you do that? You are limiting yourself. You've limited yourself. You put yourself in a box and you won't get out. You're waiting for the right time, which will never come. And if you're on Ghana Man time, that time will never ever come. So another effect of negative self-talk, feelings of depression. If you're constantly feeding yourself these negative thoughts about yourself, pretty soon you don't feel good enough. You feel less than. You feel horrible. You are not happy inside. So sorrow, your joy is gone. The joy stealers have taken your joy away. Yeah. And then, of course, when another effect of negative self-talk, you have relationship challenges, because a person who's not confident, does not believe in themselves, they seem so needy, they become so insecure. And when this happens, There are people who are users in life. They prey on you and they'll use and abuse you and further make you feel like you are nothing. You become whittled to a shadow of yourself. So, how do you overcome it? Well, monitor your thoughts. You have to be intentional. You don't just allow thoughts to just come into your mind. I remember hearing Joyce Meyer talking before and saying that she used to think that she had no control over what came into her mind. You have to take charge. I explained earlier on that I've worked on myself enough to know when I am going that way, that I take a stand and then I say, what's going on here? I halt and then I redirect and I move on. Otherwise, some places, if you allow yourself to go there, you'll be stuck there a long, long time. Yes. And then, of course, listen critically to your inner voice, the voices that you are hearing. Don't just accept them. You may say, oh, I'm so stupid. I can't do this. But you go, no, why did I do that? Let me try a different way or let me try again. Right? So things like instead of saying this will be a bad day, you say, I choose to believe the day will go well. So redirecting. And then also talk to yourself like you would talk to your best friend. You know how you feel about your best friend. If I don't want to be cynical, but if people have best friend these days, because in the times in which we live, it seems like some people, there's no empathy. Everybody's just watching out for themselves. But a best friend is a person of value. So you treat them well, you honor them, you respect them, you love them. Do that to yourself. Talk to yourself like you talk to your best friend. And of course, keep an eye on your stress level. Oh, hello on Life's Journey with Ellen. Welcome. How are you doing? Keep an eye on your stress level, right? Because if your stress level is high, it's telling you that something is going on, negativity. When you feel there are times when you feel like you have a deadline to meet, and then you are stressing so much about it and you are snapping at people all over the place. That should tell you something. Oh, I can't do this. If I don't do it, the boss will say this will happen, that will happen. And so it's affecting you. So manage that. Yeah. And then, of course, learn to look on the bright side. It's not all gloom and doom. You are alive, you are breathing, you are healthy. Whatever is going on in your life, you need to be able to tell yourself that regardless of that, I will keep on, I will soldier on. We need to find a balance. We are so negative, and I'm talking to people in my community. Our outlook is so negative. We don't tend to see the good. Don't get me wrong when I put it that way. There are some good people, but you have to search for them. The general view or the collective mindset is that of negativity. That's how I'll put it, because there's always a chance that people will put negative connotation on a good thing that you're trying to do. So when people hurt themselves over and over again trying to do great things and they get put down, after a while they stop. Or you find people in our community who've been able to discover certain nuggets that nobody knows about. They won't come and tell you because of how we are. They won't. And then we call them, oh yeah, they got to the top. Look at them. They are so snobbish. They won't even come and show anybody the way. Do you know that maybe they showed one person and that person almost dragged them down into the mud? So they made a decision that never again. It's all because of our negative outlook, negative self-talk. Yes. And the other thing is how to overcome negative self-talk. Find humor in things. Learn to laugh at yourself. In our culture that I say we are so shaming, always shaming people. Oh, look at her. She did that. Oh, look at him. He fell. Look, laugh at yourself first. If you are around such people, you put it out there first because they can't do anything with it. You put it out. You said it yourself. So who's going to go gossip about it and make you look bad? No, there's people. Watch these high profile speakers, right? They are talking. They always have stories, some comical stories about themselves. Oh, and I did this and blah, blah, blah. And oh my God, that day, this is what happened. And they are laughing. It is a trick. It's a good trait, a good thing to know. Laugh at yourself first. We take ourselves so seriously. When people see you and you are joking and you're happy, they think you are not serious. Yeah. I'll use myself as an example. I don't care. I like laughing. I like making jokes and all that. So people will look at you and say, oh, but mommy, way at your age, at what age are you supposed to be? Who says? You can't be so serious. Like, what are you so serious about? Who are you trying to impress? And so you go into situations, you see people, their faces are so squeezed, they look like let me say, dried prunes. How is that helping you? It's not very helpful, is it? So for me, I say find humor in things and don't take yourself so seriously. Also, to overcome this negativity, I said we're negative, we're negatively bent, we're negative inclined. Surround yourself with positive people. Because if you're in a group and they are constantly laughing at you, constantly putting you down, why are you there? It affects your self talk. You feel like you're good for nothing, but because you don't have the confidence to step out of it and go it alone, it's a funny thing. On Saturday, I was at my friend's 60th birthday party. So I know her from church. So there was a table, and a lot of my church people were sitting at that table. And I was sitting by myself. Well, I sat by myself at a different table till they all came in. Trust me, if it had been my people, somebody would come and say, "Oh, why are you sitting there by yourself? Like there's something wrong with you, or you are snobbish and you don't want to deal with other." No, I came in early. The whole place was at my disposal. I could pick anywhere I wanted to sit, and I sat down. And I'm comfortable enough with myself to sit there alone, and I did. Till another lady and her husband, who are friends of my girlfriend who's having the party, came to sit by me. And so I introduced myself. She also introduced herself. We were having a conversation. So you need to, like, I'm talking of, if you have positive self-talk and you get into some of these environments, it's not a problem for you. It's not now somebody's going to look at you negatively, or like there's something wrong with you. Or no, 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 no. No. It's important to surround yourself with positive people. If I hadn't worked on myself and been aware of some of these nuances, you go into public spaces and you can't even conduct yourself. You can't. Oh, let me read some comments. Okay. Tony says, it's true, Power Mommy. Sometimes talk to yourself as if you're talking to your best friend. It's very important and it encourages self-upliftment. Awesome. That is it right there. And Tony says, laugh at yourself first. Of course, I have felt down, and who never fall down hands in the air? No hands. Sometimes you have to put those people into shame by laughing at yourself first. Yes, because some people are just all about that. They are agents, they are mockers, agents of mockery. They are just there to come and put you down, make you feel bad, and this and that. And then you don't have to go for that. Yeah, you don't. There was somebody that I was expecting, and I said to myself, if I see this person, they come and say anything, I'll say to them, is that a put down? Because I don't do put downs. Look, with us, all we know is insults. You need to fight your battle strategically with your lips without insulting people. Just a phrase or a sentence that you say will put a person in their place. They'll get your meaning and they won't come back, because they know that, hey, this person, you don't go mess with them. But as, oh, blah, 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 the negative self-talk. So look at their head, look at this, look at that. I heard a woman insulting another woman that, oh, Nenaya Alanta. Have you created a human being before? So people like this, when they are talking and insulting people with body parts, you know that they haven't done any self-work. They come from a place of negativity, negative self-talk. That is what they know, so they project on others. Oh, hello, Chiami. How are you? Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. So yeah, that's what goes on. So we've been talking about The topic is this: improving your self-talk. So far we've said what self-talk is. The inner voice that speaks to you during the day can be positive or negative. We've talked about types of self-talk, and then we've done this: effects of negative self-talk, how to overcome it. So with us, the way we were brought up, if you hear people tell their story, you'll be sad, you'll be very shaken. There was one time I was listening to this guy on TikTok. I went into the middle of the program. This was weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago, I forget. And he's telling his story of hardships, how he was treated. I think he was an orphan and all kinds of things. And I'm watching this guy, and there was a point that he even got teary-eyed. They had to let him take a break and have other people talk. And I see him now because he's on TikTok, YouTube. I see him now, I see his wife, I see his kids, and I go, wow, that is a beautiful story. He changed something, right? Something changed for him, something shifted. And so now here he is in a positive space. But with us, some of us, we've gotten so beaten down. You see, you come here, you sit on these platforms and you talk, and people think, what are they going on about? They'd rather go to other places where there's insults and things going on. But what we are seeing today is a product of some of these elements I'm talking about, and other people that I know, other sisters, brothers I know come and speak about. Look on social media right now. Look at our people. This morning, there was a lady on Facebook. I follow her, so I got the alert and I went to look, and I think she's playing a recording of people fighting on TikTok. Our people. So I'm like, oh my gosh. I listened for a few minutes and I stopped. And somebody wrote a comment that TikTok are dangerous, pa. Like, so this is what I'm saying. This topic of negative self-talk, how you see yourself as a person. When you don't work on yourself based on the environment and how you were brought up, your family dynamic, what you see on TikTok, which other social media platforms, is the result of some of these negative impacts, the way we were raised. Because you think that, my parents are poor, they sent me to go live with an auntie, and then the auntie is maltreating you. So you have to struggle to survive. So you become thieving, conniving, and all that. That's all that you know. You haven't changed your self-talk to a positive environment. So you've grown up, you are the one who's cheating on a woman or scamming people for money and all that. All I'm trying to say is that if you make the effort to sit still and ask yourself, who am I? What do I want out of life? What do I bring to life? Because life is not just about you being here and coming to take. No, it's give and take. You are taking from people, you are giving to people. We meet people from all spheres of life and we interact with each other. How are you impacting people? People may refuse to be around you because of some of these things. If I come around you and all you can do is put me down and make disparaging comments, oh, look at you. As for you, you think blah, blah, blah. And then they say it and they think it's okay. You have to put up with it. No, I don't. I don't need to be around you. You don't help me. And you're not going to learn anything from me because anything I tell you, you'll put it down. So that's what we've been talking about. So I'll go to the positive because the positive, it's easy to do. It's not easy, but the obvious things are not so obvious to most of us, is what I mean. So when we say positive self-talk, what is it? It is the inner dialogue that makes you feel good about yourself. With us, let me laugh here. We grew up with Okrama Hobrasia. I don't know what it is, the religion and the faith thing, right? So I find that when people see that you are confident or you speak well or you carry yourself well, it becomes a problem. They look at it like it's some sin. You are not supposed to be this way. And so be timid and be walking around. Yeah, it's okay if you are staying over there with it, but even then, it's not helping you in the system too. because you can't push and fight for what you want, let alone coming outside, having to stand on your own 2 feet, being able to go online and get documents or fill applications or do whatever, or going in person and speaking and asking questions so that you can meet some needs of yours. And so if you don't have confidence, how are you going to do these things? Sometimes if you go into some of these offices, they see you and then they pretend like they don't even understand what you're saying. If you don't have the confidence, you give up. Yeah. So positive self-talk, it's optimistic, it's encouraging. Like if I made a mistake or I'm doing something and it's not working for me, okay, yeah, I'll feel frustrated, I'll feel annoyed, but then I'll tell myself, no, you know what? I can't let this beat me. I'm going to try again. But you can put it down, wait a day or two if you want. If it's not anything urgent and something that you are learning, wait, go back. At that time, you'll have fresh eyes. You try again and boom, you go, oh, wow. And I was struggling the other day. Somebody with a negative self talk, oh, I can't do this. This thing doesn't work. And then their friend tells them, oh, I'm trying to do that. Oh, really? It doesn't work, or don't waste your time. And that's it. And if you're a people pleaser and a follower, you've listened to them, you've closed the door on yourself. Maybe that was an open door you should have gone through, but they said it doesn't work. And then also, they always look on the bright side. They're able to pick themselves up when things go wrong. Also, well, this is just a one off. Let me keep moving, keep pushing. Yeah. So, the effects of positive self talk: increase vitality. You always feel positive, you feel bubbly, you feel energetic, you feel like you can take on any challenge. You don't worry yourself too much, right? And then, of course, there's less stress and distress because you don't look at things like in a fatalistic way, oh, it can't be done. Or if I make a mistake, I can't correct myself. No. People with positive self talk, they tell themselves, look, I'm like any other person. I'm going to try this. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, we'll try again. And that's the attitude that they have. Hello, Shauna. How are you? Wow. I miss you. Shauna says, when you can give yourself affirmation, you won't need it from anyone else and you can continue to do great things. Thank you. That is so true because your affirmation has to come from within inside of you, not from the outside, not external. It's good to have external, but if you depend so much on external, when it's not there, you can't function. Well, that was your focus this year. Oh, good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Wow. We should talk, eh? And then, of course, you feel better physically. Yeah, because I always maintain, and we know this, that anything that goes on up here, it shows up in your body. Like if you have this anger, you know, negativity, negativity, and what have you, there's people who hang on to so many things. It shows up in your body as sickness. You are not healthy. But if you have this positive self-talk, this is how I feel about this. I'm not uh, a superman. I'm not a superwoman. There's limits to what I can do, but I'm going to do my very best. If it doesn't work, I'll try again. And you take a load off yourself. Right. So if you keep having this mindset, you won't be having these pains and aches and sicknesses. And, there are people that they are so full of anger, so full of hatred that when they see whoever it is that they have a problem with, oh my goodness, if I can't describe it, but who's suffering? You are. Meanwhile, that person doesn't even know that they've moved on and you are still bearing those things. So you need to do better. Tony says the naysayers will forever be in our lives, but we thank God that we don't even notice their entrance anywhere. We would rather be doing that thing more to pain you more. Just keep doing what you're doing because the intent of the negative people is to stop you in your tracks. And when they're able to accomplish that, they feel so happy because you're stuck with them because they ain't going nowhere. As my book coach, Dr. Fred Jones says, ain't going nowhere, can't tell going there how to get there. If you are not going anywhere, you can't tell somebody who's going there how to get there. You don't have anything to offer, really. And then also, if you have a positive self talk, you have greater life satisfaction because of the lenses in which you see life. Everything, I'm not saying put on the rose tinted glass and act like we're in some Pollyanna fairy tale. No, it's that you know what you can do, you know what you can't do, you know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, and you're comfortable with it. So, and then also people with positive self-talk, they have mental skills that help them to solve problems. They see things differently, basically. They think differently. So, like I was saying earlier, if something is going on, look, right now I know there's a lot of things that I have to do, but I'm not beating myself over the head about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to do this. I make my list and then I try to go through it. There's no need stewing and, you know, putting yourself into a frenzy or becoming so anxious about things. And then also they are better able to cope with hardships and challenges. So basically, that is what I have for you today. We've been talking about improving your self talk. So, what is self talk? The types of self talk, the effects of the negative self talk, and how to overcome it. And then, of course, there's the positive self talk. Help yourself when negative thoughts start coming into your mind. Learn to stop it, think through it, and rephrase, reset. It's so important, you know. You are showing up in life, you need to enjoy the experience. And if you're going to be negative, then you're not going to, it's your outcomes are going to be impacted. You're not going to get anywhere in life with a negative self-talk. Negative self-talk leads to low self-esteem, lack of confidence, and all the negatives. We don't want to go there. We want to build ourselves. We want to grow, meet people, interact with them, impact them. Tony says it has been a wonderful and insightful session, Mommy. God bless you so much for your doings. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. So yeah, it's not, don't think that it's people who are going to do for you what you have to do for yourself. People are in your life to help you, but at the end of the day, you need to take action. This is why you can go to advice from 3, 4, 5 people. At the end of the day, you can take one of them, all of them, or none. But of course, in our community, when you don't take people's advice, then they get mad at you, and a public feud ensues. But we forget that people have the gift of choice. Yes, you are only there to advise them. Every person, if you put your stuff out there to people, you are in control. You have the final decision. For me, all I can leave with you is that life is short. You don't know how long you are here for. Make it positive. Speak positively to yourself at all times. So I'll leave it right here until next time. Watch out this week for videos that will be coming on this platform. This week my focus is on Auntie YAA'S nuggets. Last week I did a lot of videos on a word for you. So watch out for that. And on Thursday, I believe I might come and do a book read. And Auntie YAA'S book corner is back with our Saturday lives on Saturday, May 27th at 11 a.m. 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern. We'll be continuing our series, demystifying some cultural and religious norms. So do join us. And thank you for everyone who was on this platform. If you come on later, please leave us your comments. Thank you all for your support. I appreciate you. Bye for now. Take care.